What up, everybody? It's your boy Ricky Rick, and your boy Ricky Rick is back with another Ricky Talk, and today is November 4th, 2023. In case you didn't know, now you know. I have a question that I want to ask you guys. The question that I want to ask you guys is, do you guys listen to a podcast? The reason why I'm asking is because recently I had more time in my hands. I recently started a new job that allows me to have my headphones on, and the most go-to for me is obviously listening to music, listening to albums that I haven't heard. Like Drake dropped a new album for The Boys, and then Bad Bunny also dropped a new album, and I listened to both of them. And then, usually what I do is play like my favorite playlists or listen to my favorite tracks that I haven't heard in a while. But more recently, I've been more open to listening to podcasts, and while I was listening to some of the ones that I like, for example, I'm a sports guy. I love basketball. I love the Lakers. I try to do my best to watch the games, follow up with their updates, keep up with the game, Same thing goes for football. I'm a huge football fan now, like even more than I was in the beginning. I've been keeping up with my Los Angeles Rams week to week, every Sunday, watching the games, just like keeping up everything with my favorite sports teams. And then not only that, I also like keeping up with other teams as well. Like I'll have my ear open, and if there's something interesting that's going on with another team, I like to pay attention. The reason why is because I like to compare where those teams are at compared to where my team is at this season, whether my team is having a good season, whether my team is having a bad season. I like to see, because I like to see the people who are involved. Is it management? Is it the coach? Is it the player? Is it the role players? What is it? What is it that makes a team successful? And I try to apply it, like not only watching my team, but I also apply it in my life, because if you ever want to start your own business or whatever, however you present yourself, however you carry yourself, like when it comes to family, when it comes to friendships, I like to what kind of people do I need to have around me? It's like it teaches you something about life. Everything in this world teaches you something at some point. And so I'm always looking for a lesson. I'm always looking for something new that's going to impact my life, or something that I can absorb and apply in my life that's going to make me, Ricky, better. Like for example, when I became a father, I became interested in father tips. What can I do to help out my baby mama? What can I do to be a good father for my daughter? I'm always looking for ways, and I haven't stopped. I continue to look for knowledge and look for books, look for podcasts, just open myself more than I ever have before. Last year I could have been a certain way. This year I'm learning to change. You have to learn to evolve, and I think you do evolve as a person, because you have, when you were a baby, when you were a kid, when you were a baby, toddler, kid, children, young adult, to becoming an adult, to becoming a parent, to later becoming a grandparent. Like sometimes I'll look at the people who are younger than me, who, like a friend of mine who has a son, or then I look at, my parents who are now grandparents, how they're dealing with it. They're being like my example of how I'm going to be as a grandparent. Sometimes if I don't look towards my own family, I look at to the things that I love, like sports or movies. Like I always bring up Rocky Balboa, the franchise, how he carried himself, the character who became such an icon for not only Philadelphia but the whole world, inspire a whole generations and multiple generations throughout its 30-40 years of cinema. Like for example, when it comes to like sports, I like listening to the Lakers podcast. When it comes to sports, again, I like listening to the Lock On Rams podcast. But I also am open to music. When I grew up listening to music, other things that got me into music was guys like Big Boy, Angie Martinez, Ricky Martinez, who is known as Letty now. These voices of the radio were speaking the same things that I was saying, or asking the questions that I wanted to ask, or having interviews with my favorite artists and teasing and giving us little bits of crumbs of what to expect from our artists who are dropping new songs or new albums and who they're featuring with. Got me excited, got me excited, like getting out of bed or waiting for the album to drop, you know because there's many artists in this world, right, who are rappers, who are country singers, who are stars, right? But there's very few albums that I can go back in history, in time, and listen to them from track 1 all the way to track 20, track 30, track 10, track 15, whatever it is, There's very few artists that you can listen to every single track and be like, that's a hit, that's a hit. This album was dope, And there's only a handful of artists who were able to deliver that back to back hit albums. There's an artist that had a really nice album, but the next one wasn't as dope as the last one. And like nowadays, I see people blow up real quick and then they're gone by tomorrow. Like, for example, Big Sean is a good example. Big Sean, when he first came out, damn, that fool was putting hit after hit after hit. And now, where is he? 2 Chainz, he came out with hit after hit, and where is he now? Who's another artist? Kanye West. When Kanye West first came out, he was dropping legendary albums and really good material. And the last few, just like he dropped a bomb, Same thing with 50 Cent. When 50 Cent blew up, man, he had, G-Unit, clothing line, shoe line, vitamin water. He had a lot going for him, a movie. And then towards his last albums, they just really flopped, Where 50 Cent, who was once compared to Tupac, was just now compared to 50 Cent, But yeah, like, I like listening to podcasts, and they go by so much quicker, Like, for example, there's a guy that I like watching on YouTube who is known as John Campea, who talks about movies and movie news and what's coming out. And I like movies, I get entertained with movies. It helps me forget about my problems. And, yeah, like, listening to the podcast is so much better because they go by so much quicker and get to the point, and you can skip through the commercials and the ads. And for me, another thing that I done is that I have listened to my own podcast as well. I'm there at work and I'm listening to my own podcast. Now, you might be thinking, you listen to yourself? Yeah, I do listen to myself. The reason why I listen to myself is not only because I have a podcast, but because I'm always looking for ways to improve my podcast, and I think it's good to, like, if I'm going to put something out there and I'm going to have my listeners who are listening to me, I also want to see what they're listening to and what I'm speaking of and what I can do to deliver something better. Just because I put something out there, and at first, anytime I did a video or anytime I posted something, I didn't expect no one to listen or to be listening or to be paying attention. And now that I know that I do have listeners, that I do have followers, and I do have people who are watching, it's my job. Like, if I put something out there, that I'm putting stuff out there that I'm happy with, and there's sometimes where I don't record, and it's not because I don't have nothing, like, I don't have no ideas. I do have ideas, but maybe sometimes the energy that I want to put out is not there. Sometimes I might be busy, sometimes I might have my daughter, sometimes I might be helping out my dad, sometimes I might have people in my household that, if I try to do it, they're not going to give you the quality of not having any interruptions. So that's another thing I listen to, because interruptions can ruin your video, can ruin your podcast. It's like when you're listening to a song at the club and it skips or it jumps, or somebody's in your car and you're on the road heading towards Vegas, and the passenger you're with is the type of person that's always changing the song within like the first minute. Oh, just wants to listen to certain parts of the song. That's why they invented headphones, because now they eliminate that problem. You want to listen to your own thing, listen to your thing. I can listen to my thing. But I ask you guys, start of the video, do you guys listen to a podcast? My other question that I have for you guys, if you do or you don't, what podcast do you recommend? There's things that I'm into, but like I tell you, I'm into UFOs. I'm curious about learning more about the planet, more out of the universe instead of just what we have here. But yeah, mostly sports, people on the radio. Same thing. If there's a good book or something out there that's gonna teach me something, one like relationship tips or anything, father tips, whatever, I am open to suggestions on what to listen to when it comes to a podcast, because I also not only want to listen just to because I'm looking for something to listen to, but I'm also looking for something that's going to teach me, and maybe something that's going to show me how I can create better videos for you guys, video content for you guys, and a better podcast. So with that said, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And as always, your boy Ricky Rick. If I'm not doing my job, not keeping you entertained, giving you something to think about, talk about, your boy Ricky Rick ain't doing his job, and you already know your boy Ricky Rick does his job. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching, and your boy is out.